What's up, everyone, and welcome back to Phantoms Prospects Weekly. We're opening with the heater inside the PPL Center where the Phantoms took on Rochester and showed exactly what resilient hockey looks like. On Military Appreciation Night, the building was buzzing, loud, proud, and ready for a statement game. The Phantoms delivered. This one felt like a story told in swings. Momentum lost, momentum stolen back, and momentum finished. Lehigh Valley controlled the middle frame, outshooting Rochester 12-6 and heading into the intermission up 2-0. Christian Kyrou, who continues playing like a defenseman with the volume turned all the way up, put home a slick seeing eye wrister from the point. And before that, Jacob Gauthier opened the scoring on a feed from Aleksei Kolosov, reviewed, confirmed, and celebrating as the Americans looked on. But third period's test identity, and Rochester wasn't in town to make it easy. Two Phantoms penalties opened the door, and the Americans kicked through it, striking twice on the power play to make it 2-1, and then later 3-2. Every shift felt like a rope pull as both teams kept yanking for control. But then Denver Barkey answered. Exactly 61 seconds after Rochester made it a one-goal game, Kyrou jumped into the rush, made a give-and-go exchange, and threaded a pass to Barkey, slicing through traffic. One touch, one crack, net ripple. The rookie punched momentum right back where it belonged. That wasn't just a goal, that was a mood swing. And in hockey, emotional resets win games. From there, Rochester pressed with a late 6-on-4, and the building twisted with tension, but the Phantoms held firm. Zaid Wisdom buried an empty netter, Aleksei Kolosov shut the door for his sixth win, and Lehigh Valley walked off 4-2. Points in 7 of their last 8 games, making them third in the Atlantic Division and continuing to rise. That's a heavyweight win. That's a team building belief. Next stop was Providence, a game where Lehigh Valley deserved better in the result column, but instead walked away with the lesson. The Bruins took this one 3-2, but the way the Phantoms battled deserves headline space. The first period was an early gut punch. Just 2 minutes and 20 seconds in, Providence struck on a redirect near the crease, the fastest goal Lehigh Valley has allowed this season. But the response wasn't hesitant, it was execution. Alex Gendron threaded a gorgeous feed to Carson Dorwart on the power play for the equalizer at 3 minutes and 59 seconds. A calm, confident finish from the right dot. That's the kind of bounce-back shift coaches replay in meetings. But Providence regained the lead shortly after on a power play redirect. And as the second period unfolded, the game tightened. Neutral zone battles grew heavier. Both teams clogged the middle, and shots became scarce. Only 9 total in the frame. It felt like waiting for the lid to blow off of a pressure cooker. And then the third period arrived. The Phantoms fired 16 pucks on net in the final frame alone. Half of their total shots for the game, and threw everything from cross-crease feeds to breakaway looks at Providence goaltender Simon Zajac. Alex Bump had 2 breakaways denied. Carl Grunstrom crashed the net and was robbed from the paint. Ethan Sampson followed up on a rebound opportunity that should have tied the game, but Zajac pulled off a highlight save. Still, the Phantoms pushed it to the wire. With the goalie pulled and bodies flying into the fold, Anthony Richard pounced on a loose puck and buried it to make it 3-2 with just over 2 minutes left. One more bounce, one more second. This could have been a different outcome, but hockey isn't theoretical. It's final scoreboard reality. Even in defeat, this was a performance built on attitude, chance generation, relentless drive, no shift quit. Captain Garrett Wilson skated in career game number 900. Alex Bump extended his reputation as a threat in open ice, and despite falling short, the Phantoms left Providence looking like a team that knows its ceiling, and it intends to shatter it. This wasn't a failure. It was proof that they're never out of a game. If one game summarized the heartbeat of this young roster, it was Hartford. Another road building, another third period deficit, and for the third straight time in Hartford, the Phantoms stormed back to win. This time 3-2, anchored by a Carl Grunstrom equalizer and finished by who else? Denver Barkey. The opening 40 minutes were tight, a chessboard more than a track meet, as Lehigh Valley mustered just 4 shots in the first period and Hartford only 6. But the second period opened the throttle. The Phantoms surged early, controlled pace with layered pressure, but they couldn't convert, while Hartford responded with 2 goals, including a bounce off of a skate and a power drive through the crease. Suddenly it was 2-0, and the hill steepened for Lehigh Valley. Cue the rally. Rally the Valley. Christian Kyrou jump-started everything, stepping into a heavy blast from the high slot to make it 2-1 early in the third. A post-kiss goal, the kind that changes trajectory. Just over 3 minutes later, Carson Dorwart fed Carl Grundstrom, crashing a slot for yet another equalizer, his third straight tying a game in Hartford's building. Clutches his skill, and Carl Grundstrom has it tattooed all over his numbers this season. Now momentum belonged to Lehigh Valley. And then the rookies wrote the ending. Ethan Sampson launched a breakout up the right side to Alex Bump, who powered his way through contact, kept the puck alive beneath the goal line, and open space for Denver Barkey to attack. Stick down, lane open, strike delivered just like that. Lehigh Valley led and never gave it back. Hartford managed only 5 shots in the third period. The Phantoms slammed the door shut, imposed pace, and burned the clock like a playoff-trained group. Through 18 games, Lehigh Valley sits firmly inside the Atlantic Division's top 3. The roster is young, fast, confident, and winning in ways built for April, responding to adversity, finishing strong, and trusting their skill and talent to deliver. 3 games, 3 different tones, but one identity is emerging. They don't fear pressure, this team. They weaponize it. And now for our player profiles of the week. If the Phantoms had a pulse you could feel through the screen all week long, it was the rhythm of Denver Barkey. He isn't just scoring, he's helping decide games. Game winner versus Hartford, momentum dagger against Rochester, 7 goals to lead the team this season, 5 in his last 6 at the time of this stretch, and already one of the most dangerous rookies in the AHL. But what stands out isn't just his production, it's timing. Some players pad stats when the score's safe. Barkey is scoring when the moment hangs by a thread. 1-goal games, swings and momentum, late third period pushes, that's when he shows up. His goal against Rochester snapped momentum like a twig. Just 61 seconds after the Americans tied it. In Hartford, he didn't score a goal, he scored the goal. Not just a coincidence. That's composure under fire. And Barkey's chemistry with Alex Bump is quickly becoming one of the most exciting rookie duos in the AHL. Bump's power rushes create runway. Barkey's acceleration and hands turn runway into runway lights, giving them space. They punish you. They take away space. They slip behind you. The pace at which they read developing plays is well beyond their experience level. The AHL is fast, but Denver Barkey is playing faster. He's deceptive with the puck, brave without it, and relentless on retrievals. Those micro skills are what gets rookies promoted, not just goal numbers. Barkey's driving inside lanes. He tracks hard on the forecheck, and he finishes plays in tight where traffic is thickest. Look, every week it seems like we're talking about Denver Barkey. He looks less like a player breaking in and more like one building his future. And if this is what he looks like in November, let's imagine what he could become by spring. Now let's talk about blue line swagger, because Christian Kyrou has arrived with a toolkit that demands attention. He's got poise at the line. He's deceptive on entries and the kind of vision that changes offensive geometry. His fingers were all over the Rochester win, a goal from distance through layers, and a highlight assist to Denver Barkey that felt like someone dropped the clutch in the middle of the rink. Kyrou isn't just activating, he's initiating. He moves defensemen like pieces on a chessboard, pulling coverage to open seams for shooters and slots lanes for rushers. And he's doing it repeatedly. Sure, the sample size is still early, but the trend line is unmistakable. Multiple point efforts every other night, power play composure, risk and reward decision-making that's tightening each game. He reads forecheck pressure early, uses shoulder fakes like punctuation, and shows confidence jumping into transition. But offense isn't the whole story for Kyrou. His defending is maturing in parallel as well. Stick on puck timing has improved noticeably, and his gap control is firmer when defending speed entries. Hockey IQ is his foundation, and you can see it in small area patience he brings when outlets aren't there. Young defensemen usually rush plays. Kyrou's waiting for the right one, and when he gets it, he makes them pay. The Barkey goal against Rochester is the perfect example. Recognize space, trust speed, execute the feed. Against Hartford, his high slot finish sparked the entire comeback. Those aren't accidental touches. Those are deliberate momentum shifts created by a player seeing the game one frame ahead. If Denver Barkey's the heartbeat of this team, Christian Kyrou might be the motherboard. It's obvious the Flyers now value mobile, creative defensemen who can break pressure with either feet or brain. Kyrou checks both boxes, and as his experience deepens, so will his leash. Let him keep building confidence, keep playing instinctively, and the offensive upside could be real NHL currency in the near future. He's not just a part of the play. Kyrou is becoming the playmaker. Next, we have Alex Bump, and if Denver Barkey brings finishing and Kyrou supplies ignition, Alex Bump might be the muscle of the engine, the power that pushes plays into the zone where goals get written. His assist total leads AHL rookies, and his 15 points leads Lehigh Valley. And the eye test tells you why. He doesn't just enter the offensive zone, he forces his way in. The Hartford game is a blueprint. Late third period, tie on the line, building buzzing. Bump won a board battle, kept his feet driving, protected the puck under pressure, and created chaos. Barkey finished it, but Bump set the stage. That play shows exactly who he is. He's strong on the puck, he's confident in traffic, and he plays like a forward who knows he can win the heavy shifts, not just the skilled ones. Even in the Providence loss, where Lehigh Valley fell short, Bump was a threat. 2 breakaways, both stopped, but dangerous looks came from dangerous players. You don't get 2 open ice chances in a game unless you're reading play at an advanced tempo. If those finish more consistently over time, we could be talking about a legitimate scoring breakout in addition to his playmaking. What stands out most about Bump is his drive. He doesn't wait for games to come to him. He goes hunting. Heavy forecheck, puck retrieval, second chance creation. These are habits that translate at every level. He doesn't fade against structure. He attacks in it. And when paired with Barkey, it feels like lightning meeting gasoline. One creates pressure, one converts it. A duo that can both carry and finish plays makes matchup decisions extremely difficult for opposing coaches. Right now, Bump's the kind of player who tilts the ice. Soon he might be the kind who changes scoreboards consistently. His ceiling's rising, and his presence, it's already real. And for our last player spotlight, we're going to talk about Aleksei Kolosov. Every good team has a thermostat, a player who controls temperature, calms storms, and lets talent work freely. For Lehigh Valley, Aleksei Kolosov is shaping into exactly that. His win against Rochester wasn't flashy, but it was composed. 23 saves, balanced movement, rebound control that felt smooth rather than scrambled. Even as Rochester surged with late power plays and a 6-on-4 press, Kolosov didn't unravel. He tracked through screens, stayed in structure, and forced shooters to beat him clean, and most didn't. What's maybe most impressive is the detail in his game. His posts are sealed, backside pushes are efficient, and he rarely over-challenges beyond the top of the crease. Young goalies often win with reaction. Kolosov wins with read and discipline. He plays within himself, he controls pace, and that gives his teammates confidence to push offensively without fear of collapse behind them. And his early record reflects it. 6 wins, only 2 regulation losses at this point, stability from the most important position on the sheet. But beyond numbers, his development curve also matters. He's adapting quickly this season, tracking lateral puck movement well, and improving rebound steering into safe zones. Those building blocks create NHL possibility down the road if the trend continues. What tells the story best is how the team plays in front of them. They trust. They block less out of panic and more out of structure. They stretch speed knowing he'll handle the counter pushes. When goalies give teams oxygen, players breathe differently, and Lehigh Valley breathes confidently when Kolosov's between the pipes. Kolosov's not loud in style, no, but he's steady. He's not dramatic, he's dependable. And dependable wins games when games tighten. If this is the foundation, year 2 could be the start of something truly meaningful for Kolosov, something Philadelphia may eventually want a piece of. So we've hit the quarter mark of the 2025-26 season, and the Lehigh Valley Phantoms are sitting in 3rd place in the Atlantic Division with a record of 11-5, 1-1. That puts them locked in the playoff hunt, but the slope ahead is steep. They're currently 4 points behind Providence Bruins, who they lost to earlier in the week, and 5 points back of division leaders Wilkes-Barre Scranton Penguins, who they play a couple times in the next week or two. If we zoom out even further, in the overall conference standings, the Phantoms are tied for 3rd with the Laval Rocket and the Syracuse Crunch, each team holding 24 points. The tie for the conference positioning underscores how razor-thin margins are in the AHL right now. One win can shift you from chasing to contending. And what makes this spot impressive is that the Phantoms have battled through back-to-back tough losses, pressure-packed games, and travel stretches, and yet they keep clawing back. Their recent stretch, including wins we covered in earlier chapters, shows resilience. And when the chips are down, they don't fold, they fight, they adjust, and they survive. But survival is only step one. To climb, they'll need consistency, tight penalty kill execution, stronger fourth-line depth, tighter defensive structure under pressure, and more multi-point games from their offensive core, specifically Barkey Bump and Jordan Kyrou, plus veterans like Carl Gronstrom and Anthony Rocket Richard. At 11-5-1-1, the Phantoms are in position of upside and pressure. There's room to chase, of course, room to climb, and room to make noise, not just in the conference, but also the Atlantic Division. But their path runs through the teams ahead of them. Games coming up won't just matter, they'll define the Phantoms' future trajectory. If ever there was a make-or-break weekend, this is it. The Phantoms hit the ice tonight against division and conference leaders Wilkes-Barre, Scranton, and then tomorrow they'll roll into Laval to face the Rocket. 2 games, 2 rivals, 2 opportunities to reshape the standings and their season narrative. First up, they have the Penguins, who sit atop the Atlantic Division and occupy a strong grip on the first place in the conference. And for the Phantoms, this isn't just a chance to knock off a top dog. It could be a statement game. A win tonight would close the points gap, boost momentum, and demonstrate that Lehigh Valley can fight with the heavyweights. Expect physical forechecks, tight neutral zone battles, and special teams warfare. The pressure will be a high, but so will the stakes. Then comes Laval. The Rocket are tied with the Phantoms in the conference standings, and a win tomorrow could catapult Lehigh Valley into a top 3 seed cushion. Game 2 of a back-to-back is never easy. It demands energy, discipline, and trust in depth. But if the Phantoms ride their recent energy and comeback wins, the late-game punch, they have a shot at flipping momentum firmly in their favor. A few things I'll be watching for is, can the top offensive duo of Barkey and Bump continue to create early season success? Will goaltender Aleksei Kolosov hold strong? And does the defensive unit tighten up to limit odd man rushes and clear traffic in front of the crease? This weekend, they're not guaranteed wins, but for a team under 25 games in, could define their direction. These are a couple measuring stick games. Can they prove they belong at the top, or will they give ground? It's time to find out where this Phantoms group stands. Key players will need to lead this weekend. Denver Barkey needs to carry the offensive punch. Alex Bump needs to continue driving pressure and creating space. Christian Kyrou will need to move the puck sharply, transition quick, support the rush, and defend when needed, obviously. While Aleksei Kolosov needs to stand tall, handle the heat, keep composure. Veterans like Grunstrom and Richard keep finishing chances and anchor the depth. If those pieces align, the forecast for this club looks loud and promising. Phantoms fans and Flyers fans, you've got to watch this weekend, not just for goals or saves, but for the identity of this team. Will they be the comeback crew, the contenders, the wild card that nobody sees coming? Stay locked in, stay loud, and stay ready. We'll be back with the full post-game breakdowns, hot takes, and prospect spotlights featuring whoever stands the most next week, because this ride's far from over. The Phantoms aren't done making noise yet. For HW Hockey, I'm Jim Icavone. Don't forget to keep it high, keep it wide. See you next week. Bye-bye.
Thanks for watching HW Hockey. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. We'll see you next time.